Welcome back to On the Road with Flora and Note, a podcast where we share our travel stories, our personal insights, and candid conversations while we're on the road.
And today we are back in Japan, specifically Nara. This is our second time here. We filmed one video here maybe a year ago.
Yeah, about the same time, but we feel like there's significantly more people.
And less deer.
Yeah, we couldn't even buy biscuits. We were walking around collecting biscuits on the ground so we can feed some deer. But anyways, if you want to watch,
park,
if you want to watch our Nara video, you can go to our main channel. It is there. And also, if you're not interested in watching our podcast, you can also listen to our podcast, which is now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So today we wanted to talk more about travel and specifically why traveling outside our comfort zone has unexpectedly given us some of the best memories and also have shaped who we are as travelers and who we are as people, really.
I think we have to go back to what made us loving traveling. Like for you, when did you start wanting to travel?
I think I was really lucky because as a kid, my parents took us on vacation a lot. I think the first time I fell in love with traveling was when I was 7 years old. I remember going to Hawaii, and it was my first experience of seeing like what is outside of my normal world. I remember swimming with dolphins. I remember living at this little hut that is near a volcano. And for me, that was amazing. That was one of the best experiences. And I still remember it to this day, even though I forgot a lot about my other childhood memories. This memory stuck with me forever.
But I thought you traveled earlier than that. Your mom told me that you you went to Thailand.
I was in her stomach. She has photos of her pregnant, and she said, we were in Phuket. That was your first trip. Maybe that's why you are attracted to Thai people. No, I think I was lucky for sure. My parents loved traveling, so I remember taking airplanes. I loved traveling at a young age, but always comfortable traveling. And popular destinations like Hawaii or Vegas. I don't remember right now, but like Japan, something like that, because my parents like more comfortable type of travel.
Like staying fancy hotels, getting hotel breakfast.
Yeah, because I think for them, for a lot of people, traveling is vacation. So I always thought it was that until we started to step outside of our comfort zone. Then I was like, oh, traveling is not that comfortable, but traveling can have a lot of meaning and can be very tiring. But some of the best experiences, yeah. How about for you? What's your first memory of falling in love with traveling?
I grew up in a poor family, so I didn't get to travel anywhere. Only around the village in Thailand.
In Isan?
In Isan, yeah. I enjoy traveling because I left my house at a very young age. This is due to family circumstances that made me kind of want to see the world by myself. I'm more brave to go and do things by myself and exploring new things. And my very first trip was to Germany.
Do you remember what age? Because you told me about Germany before, but I feel like you weren't quite sure what age you were at the time.
I lost track of what age, but I was very young. And that's when I first saw snow. I remember how happy I was touching snow. You know, coming from a village in Thailand, that was the most exciting time of my life.
And the skateboarders.
And the skateboarders. It was the first time I saw skateboard. I went to this park in Germany and there were a bunch of kids skating and I just stood there watching them for hours and I kept going back day after day until one day one of the kids, the smallest kid, brought his skateboard and gave it to me to practice. And they taught me how to skateboard. And ever since I started skateboarding.
I always love that story because you spoke zero English. The kids also spoke zero English, but they were communicating at such a young age, and he is such a nice kid. It sounds like that he probably had to go home, ask his parents, can I give this to like this Thai kid that keeps showing up at this park? Like the whole interaction seems so genuine and so real. Yeah.
And that's part of the thing that I enjoy traveling to places that I don't really know about. Even having a hard time communicating with them, because for some reason you will always be able to communicate from within, you know, you don't need language to understand each other.
When we met, we bonded over traveling as well, but different types of travel, because I remember when I met you, you have just come back from Africa. You went to Africa with your school.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's amazing. Like to go there to see the tribes, you said you dance with them, they was it like they sacrificed like an animal, or you have to drink, or they drink the blood or something like that. The first time for you to see those things, and I always thought that is so amazing that you're open to traveling, because at that time I just quit being a flight attendant for 2 years with Cathay Pacific.
And that's also the reason why you love traveling, because
I used to see the flight attendants whenever we fly from Vancouver to Hong Kong, but I never thought I was gonna go apply to be a flight attendant. That whole thing happens. I don't even know how to explain it. I was in Hong Kong kind of on a summer break. I was 18, I just graduated from high school, and I met some friends because I was bored and I found a job, and all of them were like, we want to go apply for the flight attendant. And I was like, I'll just go for fun with you guys. I thought it was cool. And they're like, it's super hard to get in.
Not expecting you're going to get in.
You're not going to get in. I didn't even tell my dad at the time because I thought he probably would say something. So I just went to the first interview. And then I passed, and I was like, oh no, now I kind of have to tell them. So I think I told my dad, and he was pretty mad at me because he was hoping I'd go straight to university, obviously, after high school. But I was like, oh, it's really hard, I'm not gonna get in, I'll just go to the second interview. And then I passed, and eventually I got a call to come for orientation, and I was like, oh, I guess it's happening. But I was 18, there's a chance to see the world while getting paid, and I thought, I'm gonna use this opportunity to save money for university.
That was a big decision for you, especially growing up in an Asian family where you're gonna say, I'm gonna take a year off. That's a big deal.
Not even a year, because it ended up being almost 2 years. And I think I have my mom to thank for that, because I don't think she was 100% like on board with this decision, but she's been supportive of a lot of my ideas that growing up. Like Dad actually, he slammed the door, he went into his room and shut the door, and he didn't talk to me. I remember that because I think he was just upset, and I understand now. But because I kind of had Mom support me, so I thought, it's okay, I'm gonna do it. And then I said, Dad, I can get you really cheap business class tickets. And then I think that softened him up a little bit. So my parents did utilize those tickets while I was working. So I think that brought them some joy when I was doing it. But I eventually was like, I don't want to do this forever, and I went to university. So, but I think that was what we kind of had in common, was at before we were 20, we always found the opportunity to travel.
Another thing I want to mention is that I am adopted, and my adoptive father has always been so supportive for me to travel, to see the world. He believes that the world is just a giant classroom that I can learn from. It took me 6 years to finish university because I did a year in Canada. I went back to Thailand. I went to Hong Kong. I went to Australia. That's where we met.
Yeah.
And then finished my degree back in Canada.
Yeah.
6 years.
You took 6 years, but you had a lot of fun, right?
Oh, yeah. I love it. And Even the major that I chose was I either choose business or international business, but I chose international business because it has the word international in it. And I was like, okay, I get to work and then get to travel the world. That's what I wanted to be.
But that wasn't quite it.
But the reality is after I graduated and I got a job in international business development, all I did was just doing business research for international companies. I don't get to travel.
But someone higher up is going there to go and see it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing that now we have created this lifestyle for ourselves, that travel is our work. I used to think the same as I was a flight attendant, but it's limited amount of time and I'm working. But then I love the travel part of the job, not so much the job itself. So now we get to live our life where we travel extensively and we take our time to see places in more depth. I think the first trip that was outside my comfort zone was even before YouTube. I think it was the year 2016. Before YouTube, before we moved to Thailand, we did this trip with your dad as well to Vietnam. We take the boat from Vietnam to Cambodia. And then we go to Angkor Wat and we go to like Phnom Penh and we see like all the historic stuff, all the beautiful sights. And that trip was the first trip that I felt outside my comfort zone. It's places where I don't really know the language. I've never focused my trips so much on history before and learning about what has happened in certain places. Before I was also let's go there, take photos, take photos kind of
Follow
trip.
the Instagram spots.
Yeah, but that trip really changed how I felt about the world and about travel, because travel is really now how I learn. As your dad said, is a huge classroom.
And recently, was it recently?
Last year, is it?
It was last year?
Last year.
We decided to go to Nepal. We didn't know much about Nepal. We were scared to go to Nepal.
Yeah, I was nervous. People kept saying, don't eat meat, don't, be careful of what you eat because you might get sick. And I was nervous about that. But I think we were also lucky that we had our friend Nima in Nepal who really took care of us.
Kind of helped us break the ice.
Yeah.
Overcome that initial fear of going to Nepal.
It was still shocking. When we got out of the airport, I remember we hopped on a taxi and Nima was on his bike. So he went to our hotel and we took the taxi to the hotel and he'll meet us there. And the taxi wheel, he got a flat tire or something happened.
or it was about to come off.
Yeah, and we don't know what's happening. We just hear him yelling, and then we're like, what's wrong with this taxi? Or is this a scam or something like that? And then we stopped the car and then he yelled at someone else and then some guy came over and started kicking the tire and then we're like, what is happening? Are we gonna get robbed?
Back in.
Yeah.
And then he just started driving.
Yeah, and then we got to the hotel and that was that. And we were just completely shocked.
We were shocked, but also excited at the same time. Seeing things that we have never seen before. The chaos on the street, how people deal with certain situations in different countries.
Was there a specific moment in our trip in Nepal that pushed you outside your comfort zone?
Yes, many moments. The very first day that we started exploring, just walking along the streets, seeing the street vendors, seeing all the yelling, all the traffic noises, the smell of the incense, the sound of the horn, the sound of the cows.
It was overwhelming for your senses.
Yeah, and it brought me so much joy. I was like, oh, I'm so ready to explore more of this country. And when we decided to rent a bike and just drive with our 20 kilos backpack,
what's that bike we
Royal Enfield.
Yeah, when we imagine renting the Royal Enfield Bullet, taking our backpacks, going up the mountain, it just sounded so cool, so romantic. But the reality of it was really hard to carry the bags on the bike, and it was not comfortable sitting on the back of the bike. I was scared. Like I was scared because I was like, I don't think this is doable.
Because you keep
I was gonna fall off the
leaning
bike,
back, yeah.
and then the traffic was crazy. Like you would be driving, and then suddenly a goat appears beside you because someone put it on their scooter, and like everything was just happening. And they were trying to get gas, and we're like, how do you get gas? All of these things was quite overwhelming, but now, like looking back, those are all things that pushed us to be more adventurous. Because after we went through everything and realizing it's just part of travel and this is the way that you learn, and you're not the first person to go through this. Other people have gone through similar struggles, and local people are willing to help you. You just have to ask.
Just imagine if we were to just take a car and get to this destination, we wouldn't have all these stories to tell. We wouldn't have these memories.
Yeah.
Because all the unexpected things that happen during our journey that makes it so special.
It makes us learn about what we can do the next time something like that happens. It almost widens our minds that there's so many ways to fix a problem when it occurs. I think a lot of people notice from our videos that we seem really calm in a lot of situations, and they get curious, like behind the scenes, are you guys freaking out? Are you fighting? Like what is the reality of it? But the thing is,
we don't get
we're
upset
not
when things don't go as planned.
Yeah, I think we're lucky that we're traveling without too much of a time limit, so we can slow travel. But also when something happens, we're pretty calm to sort out the situation. And I think that has been built up through these unexpected things that happened during our travels. And you just become a calmer, more patient traveler the more you travel.
So would you say Nepal was the first out of your comfort zone country that we traveled to that pretty much changed the way you want to travel?
I think that was the second trip for me, because as I said, the Vietnam-Cambodia trip was the first one that opened my eyes, basically. And that trip made me tell you that I want to move to Asia. But Nepal was the first trip for me where I had no expectations, and I realized in the end it exceeded everything. I have some moments in Nepal where I felt the most calming in my life, and how humanity is so kind. I think we're both probably thinking the same thing. Is when we were up in Gandruk, in this small village in the mountains that's near Pokhara, we spent 2 days there with a local family, and it was life-changing for us to see how living to just get by each day, survive each day.
Simple life.
Yeah, to have food, to have community, to have friends, to have
a place to sleep,
to have clean air to breathe, to have, warmth. Like those were the necessities of the people living at the village, and they were happy. We see them sit around, drink tea, chat every day, and they ask us to join. And other times we just sit and look at the mountains and appreciate the beauty of the mountains. And I think that's when we started to realize that we didn't need so much.
Like we learn how to appreciate every little things that we have. Because those people up in the village, they don't have as much as us, and they still are able to be happy.
When you were editing the Nepal videos, it brought you so much joy. And watching all of those clips, you were asking me, like, where else can we go to that will
Give us
challenge
that
us?
same feeling.
Yeah. We were craving that feeling of unknown, of, you know, having no expectations, and at the same time feeling like we're going to be surprised. We're going to learn something new about this country, about ourselves by traveling there. And I think that next big series for us was Central Asia. Just planning Central Asia, we were already like so excited.
Because it's also outside our comfort zone. We know
Yeah.
nothing about Central Asia. Started zooming to the map, choosing countries, and we ended up going to Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan.
Mm-hmm.
Both countries are wonderful. We had a great time. But the one that gave us that similar feelings
Like
of
butterflies
Nepal,
in our stomach,
is Kyrgyzstan, which we didn't really plan much when we decided to go there. We were like, let's rent a car
Yeah.
and just enjoy this journey. Stop where we ever want to stop, and we don't even book hotels ahead of time. Maybe
Yeah.
a day or two before we arrive.
I think it might have been because we were so used to Rocket having to break down sometimes.
Rocket is our car back
Oh
in
yeah.
Thailand.
So we had a road trip, a series where Rocket was just not reliable for us, and it made me feel like, you know, if we're on a road trip, maybe we don't have to plan too much ahead of time, because we'll have a better idea when we're almost there. But the thing is, the car we rented in Kazakhstan, in Kyrgyzstan, was amazing. So, and it was a good deal as well. So that made that trip very smooth. And Kyrgyzstan, one of my highlights for sure is our homestay.
Again, staying with
Yeah.
a local family.
I think that's usually what really sticks with us, is those interactions with local people. And I actually booked that place. They're called Compass Guest House. And I booked it on booking.com thinking it was actually like a hotel. But when we rocked up, it was just someone's house. And the dad came and opened the door, but he doesn't speak any English. So I showed him and he's like, yeah, it's here. So we walk in. And then his son came and took us to the room and said, there's 5 guest rooms here, and then our family lives downstairs in another area, and this is the kitchen you can use and all of that. And I was
this is a garden.
Yeah, this is the garden. You can eat the fruits on the trees. And I was actually a bit not sure how I felt, because I didn't expect it to be a homestay. But quickly, you know, just a few hours into it, like we started meeting, you know, the sister, meeting the mom, meeting the family, seeing some other travelers, and I was just like, this is amazing. This is where we can start asking questions and learning more about the culture.
And the next day, they invited us to a special ceremony where they sacrifice a sheep.
To celebrate their mom coming back from the hospital and that she's healthy. So it was a nice feast for the extended family to join as well.
And even all that experience was new to us. And
unexpected. It was the first time we actually saw like a sheep being sacrificed right in front of us. And
before that, we woke up in the morning and we saw this cute little sheep, and we was like, oh, it's so cute. We started
I was
petting
like,
it.
oh, does it have a name? It's like, no, it will be cut later. I was like, what? Yeah, they're cut later. I was like, oh, okay, don't make eye contact now. Like, don't make eye contact with the sheep. But yeah, to see all of what was happening and how respectful the whole sacrifice is, and the prayer, and even eating the sheep and all the parts is a sign of respect and all of that. It was the first time for me to feel it and to understand what it means, I think, to have food on the table, to have meat be sacrificed. Like, don't waste what you have.
And now when we get questions like, which country do we like the most? usually it's not the popular countries that everyone is thinking about. For us, it's the two countries, Nepal and Kyrgyzstan.
I think there's a lot to love about every country we go to. But just as we evolve as travelers, we crave that
Rawness.
Yeah, that rawness, this genuine interactions, the kind of more like off the beaten path feeling. Even though we do go to a lot of popular countries and popular tourist attractions as well.
We're in Japan now. We enjoy coming to Japan. We enjoy the convenient,
The food.
the food, the beautiful tourist attractions, just like this place.
But it's a different feeling than when you step outside of your comfort zone to kind of push yourself to grow in terms of like as a traveler. So I think it depends on what type of travel you're into, and we're just in this phase right now where we feel the discomfort becomes very memorable experiences for us.
That's why when we travel to any places now, we tend to look into staying with local families, staying in a homestay. We usually don't stay in fancy hotels.
Yeah.
Because sure, it's comfortable for a day or two, but it doesn't have this special impact on us. It doesn't have these long-lasting memories that we can cherish, that we can talk about years after years.
I think when we say step outside your comfort zone, it also requires you to ask yourself, what is your comfort zone? Because for many people, if they haven't traveled much, going to Korea, going to Japan, going to Vietnam is also very outside of their comfort zone. But that's good. Like that's a good start. Like you don't have to go from never leaving the country to Kyrgyzstan. You know, like you can take it slowly, just how we have kind of taken our travel, our journey kind of slow. Vietnam, first time there, we were shocked too. That they don't speak any English. We were ordering food off of Google Images. Like, I want one cow, I want one pig, and no frog. Like, you know, like that
No
was
crocodile.
Yeah, no everything. It was like that was also shocking for us, and I think we just kind of got used to it, and that's why now we're like thinking bigger, wilder kind of destinations.
Where would that be now? Where is the most outside of your comfort zone destination that you think we can go to?
I think for me, India.
Well, I know India.
But it's your fault though. Before I was like, yeah, let's go to India. And then you started showing me all these like street food videos where they're like, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." and then I was like, is that really what it's like? And it started getting to my head that I might feel very outside my comfort zone in terms of like health and food sanitation and all of that, and I got kind of scared.
But I think a lot of that, the videos that I show you, is not true. Like people doing shocking content to get attention. But India is such a big country. There's so many options for you to choose from. It depends on the way you travel. You can enjoy street food, or you just avoid street food and enjoy restaurants instead. I think I am scared also, but I'm trying to talk to myself that it's okay, there are options. So
and I know people, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, we spoke to a lot of people
that love it.
And love it, and they said India lifted their soul, just like how Nepal lifted our souls.
Yeah.
So I think we should give it a chance.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I feel nervous for, but I know that usually it's a good sign when I feel nervous about a place. It usually ends up better than I expected. I think this year for us as well, we put off India because we both got quite sick at one point. So I wasn't sure if I should go to India when I'm not feeling 100%. So next year, when we work on our health a little bit in the beginning of the year. I think we'll try to plan that in.
Also, let us know if you have been to India.
Yeah, did you love it? Did you hate it? What you think we should
Do or prepare ourselves.
any precautions? But also another thing it would be interesting is what place is outside your comfort zone. And don't be shy. Like it can be as simple as Thailand. Like that is still amazing to, if it's like your first time going to Thailand, then we can share some tips.
So please do share in the comment section.
We feel really lucky because we've posted, this will be our 5th video on this podcast channel. And the comments that have been coming in are so heartfelt. They're long. They have just a lot more insight, and it makes us really excited to read them. And we try our best to reply most of them, acknowledge them. But yeah, it's been a joy to be able to share our thoughts and have people also resonate with us or just share their own thoughts about something that's completely opposite from what we're thinking.
Because we're also learning as well. And it's amazing that we have this platform that we can learn from you guys and share our experiences and our opinions and having this open conversation together.
Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and we will think about something else to talk about next week.
And we will see you on the road.
Bye.
Bye-bye.